If you guys love the NFL draft like I do and we do here at Chat Sports, then hit that sub button. Free NFL videos, a ton of NFL draft coverage, and live NFL draft coverage when you sub right now. We're about to break down the latest 2024 NFL mock draft courtesy of one Mel Kiper. No trades in this mock draft. We'll save that for a future one that we'll break down. Let's get to the picks then. No surprise here at number 1 overall. It's Caleb Williams. He's the pick. There's not much more to say there. The intrigue begins at 2, and Mel's got Jayden Daniels going to the Washington Commanders out of LSU. Mel also mentioning that maybe J.J. McCarthy's in play. I think that would be a very confusing and surprising decision. But Mel also has Daniels over Drake Maye on his own personal board. There are pros and cons with both of these next top 2 quarterbacks, in Jayden Daniels and Drake Maye, who he's got going number 3 to the New England Patriots. Daniels does not attack the middle of the field. He's not great at avoiding sacks. Times when he's so dynamic with his legs, his deep ball's so impactful, that there's all value there. Drake Maye will have just some kind of ugly misses, frankly, that are a red flag, absolutely are. He also makes a ton of high-level NFL throws, the arm strength, the mobility, the size, has that to a T in the way that, Jayden Daniels does not. So there are very real pros and cons for both of those guys. And both guys are still worth taking in the top end of the first round and hoping they can be the franchise guy for teams that are looking for that. Patriots, of course, have had one more recently in Tom Brady. The Commanders, probably a little bit longer, even if we try to include Kirk Cousins in that conversation. So assuming that Caleb Williams goes number 1, and there's nothing wonky that goes on there, if you were the Commanders, who would you take at pick number 2? JD for Jayden Daniels, DM for Drake Maye. This will be the pinned comment on this video today. So if the ad comes on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and go vote. JD or DM. Marvin Harrison goes number 4. The Cardinals are open to a trade down, by the way. If they don't, just stand there and take my number 1 prospect in this year's class. The Chargers, meanwhile, with no Mike Williams, no Keenan Allen, take the number 2 player in this class for me. That is Malik Nabers out of LSU. In a normal class, any of these receivers would be worthy of being the top receiver taken. That does include Odunze as well, out of Washington. I love his fit for the Giants. They've got Darius Slayton, skinny fast guy. Jalen Hyatt, super skinny fast guy. Wan'Dale Robinson, slot receiver. They don't have the body type of that typical X-outside receiver that Odunze is. I think that'd be a great fit for the Giants if they cannot figure out a way to get a quarterback. Number 7 is Joe Alt. This is a very boring pick, and if you do the polls of like the mock draft projections, got to be like 7% are taking Joe Alt for the Titans. It's like Caleb Williams 1 consensus, Joe Alt 7 consensus. Number 8 is Dallas Turner, who I think you'll see a lot of popular picks involved here. I think this is going to be a very logical fit, a team that needs a pass rusher. See if they're willing to sign a trade. Either way, I think Turner makes so much sense in Atlanta, given what their needs are now. Jared Verse to the Chicago Bears. I wouldn't be mad at going tackle or receiver here, like Mel mentions in his article. Verse at 9 is a little bit rich for me. I will say, for a team that's very light on draft picks on day 3, a trade down is something to monitor on this front. Brock Bowers to the Jets. They've got some good tackles kind of set up there. You're worried about the Tigers with injuries, I'm sure. You've got Mike Williams now in the fold at wide receiver. I would not be surprised if Joe Douglas, looks for another playmaker over the middle to help out Aaron Rodgers. Now, NFL jerseys are on sale for under $100 when you go to chatsports.com/jersey deal. That link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. They've got jerseys for whatever team you're a fan of and a ton of different players. sales for older players that are gone, but no one really cares about that one. So you can sort by your team on the left-hand side when you go to chatsports.com/jersey deal. So don't delay. Go check out that deal today. By the way, as players get signed, you'll see some of those, like officially signed, they pick their numbers. You'll see those jerseys pop as well, plus draft picks in the not-too-distant future. Link will be in the comments and the description of today's video. It's chatsports.com/jersey deal. J.J. McCarthy, number 11. I would guess the Vikings actually end up trading up at some point. We'll see with whom and for what, etc. But the Vikings moving up to get that other first-round pick at 23 just screams we're going up for a quarterback. And you could maybe give Sam Darnold a year or a half year and give McCarthy some time. I think he fits really well in the Kevin O'Connell offense, by the way. At number 12, another quarterback. It's Bo Nix out of Oregon to the Denver Broncos with, by the way, Kiper saying that he thinks Nix, Penix, and Spencer Rattler are going to be off the board by the time that the next pick happens for the Broncos in the third round, which I find interesting. Let's assume J.J. McCarthy really is the NFL's most likely quarterback for. Who would you make your QB5? BN for Bo Nix, MP for Michael Penix Jr. out of Washington. Sound off for me in the comment section right now. Number 13 is J.C. Latham to the Raiders. By the way, over Fashanu, who we'll get to here in a moment. Trigger warning for the Raiders fans who remember the selection of Alex Leatherwood. I think Latham's better than Leatherwood, but I understand the trauma you might be dealing with on that front there. He would be a plug-and-play option at right tackle, though. Fashanu would be a great pick for the Saints. The Trevor Penning pick has, frankly, been a bit of a disaster. Fashanu was a little bit banged up this year, not as productive, but still a great athlete and played really well. I think adding him to your offensive line makes so much sense. Quinyon Mitchell is the first cornerback off the board here to the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts need cornerback help, and Mitchell's size, traits, athletic ability, production at the Mid-American Conference level, all of those things that I was like, yeah, he's going to be a good pro. Troy Fautanu. This one also makes a lot of sense. They need guard help. Fautanu, I think could play tackle, is viewed as a guard here in this Mel Kiper mock draft. Doesn't have to move very far. And by the way, his offensive line coach and coordinator for the Huskies have the same roles in Seattle. So there's the obvious connection on that front. I also love the fit of Terrion Arnold to the Jacksonville Jags. Cornerback help is needed. He can do some inside and outside stuff. Maybe they consider going with a receiver here as well. But I like the value there for Arnold, who I think will be a top 20 pick. Board falls pretty damn great for the Bengals. Talise Fuaga out of Oregon State, who I think should go before J.C. Latham. We'll see if I'm right or wrong on that front. Is a piece at right tackle. And in this scenario, you either sit him for a little bit or make Trent Brown your swing tackle. Either way, I think the Bengals come out of that pretty excited. The Rams, who have lost Aaron Donald to retirement, they take Byron Murphy II. I wonder just how popular this mock draft pick is going to be. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Rams get a similar undersized defensive tackle to replace their Hall of Fame undersized defensive tackle. Just make note, he's not going to be Aaron Donald. The Steelers at 20, and I like this fit. Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU, 4.33 40 at 6'3". That's some special size speed combination there. Thomas and George Pickens with some deep balls that Wilson does still chuck. That's an intriguing combination there. The Dolphins take Graham Barton at number 21 overall. I think in this scenario, Mel's got Barton playing guard because Mel basically never mocks centers in round one. He didn't do it with Tyler Linderbaum. He's not someone, I don't even know if he did it with Ryan Kelly. He's not someone who puts centers in round ones of mock drafts. Plus, guard's a bigger need for Miami. Barton was a left tackle at Duke, but I think he'll play on the inside in the NFL. Literally no wrong answers. Who is your favorite 2024 NFL draft prospect? Drop that name for me in the comments. Eagles get some cornerback help here. Nate Wiggins, we know how much they love going with the premium position mindset there. Darius Slay, James Bradbury getting older, although maybe in that scenario you're keeping Bradbury at nickel. Cooper DeJean, I like the player. I don't like the fit with Brian Flores. DeJean didn't play much man at Iowa, and that would give me anxiety with the way that Brian Flores likes to do his defensive schemes and blitz and stuff. 24, Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma. The upside is there. I think he's fairly raw. Mel likes him a lot. He says he's higher on Guyton than he is Amarius Mims. Just wait a little bit for him and where he ends up going. But he was a right tackle at OU. With his rawness, you could probably put him to the left side and not be overly worried about that front. The Packers at 25, another edge, Latu, which is kind of weird since they just took Lucas Van Ness. But hey, the value's intriguing. Medical questions will determine where he goes. Had to medically retire from due to a neck injury at Washington in 2021. I don't know about the player-team need fit there. The Bucs at 26 go with Xavier Worthy, which I also find interesting because the Bucs don't necessarily need another wide receiver as fast as Worthy is. They have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. They have the speed guy in Trey Palmer. They just paid Evans and Godwin. It's the fast guy. I like adding speed, sure. But I don't love that team player match there. I do like this one. The Arizona Cardinals take Chop Robinson at 27. He is a Owe in the sense that the traits are great. The production wasn't always. The burst off the ball is some of the best I've ever seen. And I think late round 1 is where he ends up going. The Bills go with the corner. It's TJ Tampa. A little surprised they're not adding another receiver, but okay, it's fine. I am not as high on TJ Tampa as Mel is. And frankly, the back end of round 1, I don't love what Mel was doing here. The Lions at 29, Xavier Legette. I actually like Legette more than most people, I think. And the 4.39 40, I think, answered some concerns people had about him. But I don't see top 30 pick here. Not over some of the other receivers who were on the board. A.D. Mitchell had not gone yet. I like Legette, but not top 30 for me. Steal here for the Ravens, which is just classic Baltimore. Maybe Daniel Flores is going to be their right tackle moving forward, but Amarius Mims could plug right in. Now, he's not raw. He's just inexperienced. When he's played, he's been good. He just hasn't played very much. I think first round lock for Amarius Mims, barring unknown, medical character stuff that we don't know about. And I could see him going top 15. I really could. The surprise pick here is Roger Rosengarten, the other Huskies offensive tackle, the right tackle. I like him. I think if you like those draft sims that everyone uses, I think he is very undervalued in those draft sims. I'm not taking him in the first round though. That'd be a pretty big shock to me. As deep as this offensive tackle class is, if he ends up going in the top 31 over a guy like Jordan Morgan, and I think maybe Mel got word from somebody in the NFL, but also about once every mock draft, every other mock draft, there's this weird pick that Mel Kiper makes that I'm like, what is he doing? And then next time it's gone. So I'll keep an eye on what happens next time, and maybe Mel just watched him and got a little bit too excited. Wouldn't be the first time. The Chiefs at 32 get another receiver, A.D. Mitchell, who I love the height, weight, speed combination there. I think there's been some buzz of how focused is he game in and game out, but the upside is super, super intriguing. So grade Mel Kiper's mock draft. A, B, C, D, or F. Go ahead and sound off for me in the comments section. Some notable players who were not mocked in round 1 here. Jackson Powers Johnson, I'm surprised by that. Mel also doesn't like mocking centers in round 1. He didn't do a Tyler Linderbaum in his final mock draft either, which I was surprised by. Kool-Aid McKinstry has some medical concerns on that front. Johnny Newton, I think I'm just going to be higher on than the NFL. That's fine. They can be wrong. Just like they were about Brian Branch. Keon Coleman, who was never a speedy guy. I think we might overcorrected the 40-yard dash results there. And Darius Robinson is a noteworthy fringe round one piece.